Imagine a self-made millionaire named Alexander Wright, raised in a small town where opportunities were few and hard work was everything. Alexander had built his fortune from nothing. His journey was not one of luxury and privilege, but of grit, determination, and countless sleepless nights. Despite his wealth, Alexander lived a simple life, never feeling the need to flaunt his success. But today was different. Today, he stood at the gates of a luxurious private jet showroom at the airport, ready to reward himself for years of hard work. This wasn't just a purchase, it was a dream come true, a symbol of his journey from struggling to survive to soaring above it all, literally. Dressed in his usual attire, an old leather jacket, casual jeans, and scuffed boots, Alexander walked into the gleaming showroom. The space was a masterpiece of modern design. Polished marble floors reflected the light from grand chandeliers, and the air was perfumed with a faint hint of luxury cologne. Jets worth millions of dollars were displayed like prized jewels, their sleek designs promising the ultimate experience of freedom and power. Yet, the moment Alexander stepped inside, he felt the shift in the room. Employees and customers alike paused to stare, their expressions betraying a mix of curiosity and disdain. His modest clothes stood in stark contrast to the tailored suits and designer dresses around him. Whispers began to ripple through the crowd. Who let him in? Is he lost? Does he even know where he is? Alexander ignored them, his eyes focused on the jets. He had faced worse in his life. This was nothing. He approached the reception desk where a young woman with a practiced smile greeted him. Her eyes, however, betrayed her skepticism as they swept over his appearance. "Good afternoon, sir. Can I help you?" "Yes," Alexander said, his tone calm and confident. "I'm here to buy a jet. I'd like to see your inventory." Her smile faltered for a fraction of a second before she quickly recovered. "Of course. Do you have an appointment?" "No, but I didn't think I'd need one," Alexander replied. The receptionist hesitated, glancing over her shoulder at a nearby salesperson. The man, tall and impeccably dressed, strode over with an air of authority. "Good afternoon," the salesperson said, his tone polite but laced with condescension. "How can I assist you today?" "I'm interested in purchasing a jet," Alexander said, meeting the man's gaze steadily. The salesperson raised an eyebrow, clearly unimpressed. "Our jets are quite expensive, sir. Perhaps you'd like to start with the specifications to see if they fit your budget?" The insult was thinly veiled, but Alexander didn't flinch. "That sounds like a good place to start," he replied evenly. The salesperson led Alexander toward one of the jets, his demeanor growing more dismissive with every step. "This model starts at $12 million, he said, almost daring Alexander to back out. As Alexander inspected the jet, genuinely impressed by its features, the whispers from the other customers grew louder. "He doesn't look like he belongs here. Maybe he's just here for photos. People like him can't afford to dream this big." Alexander pretended not to hear, but their words stung. He'd spent his life proving people wrong, yet the prejudice never seemed to stop. As Alexander continued his inspection, a voice called out from behind him. "Alexander Wright, is that you?" Turning, Alexander saw a familiar face, Mark, an old friend and fellow entrepreneur. Mark was dressed casually, but exuded confidence, his warm smile a welcome reprieve from the cold judgment surrounding Alexander. "Mark, it's been too long," Alexander said, shaking his friend's hand. "It has," Mark replied. "What brings you here?" "I'm buying a jet," Alexander said simply. Mark chuckled. "And how's that going?" Alexander shrugged, a small smile playing on his lips. "Let's just say I'm not exactly getting the red carpet treatment." Mark glanced around, noticing the stares and smirks from the other customers. I see. Let me guess. They think you don't belong here." "Something like that," Alexander admitted. Mark leaned closer, lowering his voice. "You know what I always say? The best way to shut them up is to show them what you're capable of." Just as the conversation lightened Alexander's mood, one of the customers, a man in an expensive suit, stepped forward, his voice loud enough to draw everyone's attention. "Hey, buddy!" the man called out. "This isn't a thrift store. Are you sure you're in the right place?" Laughter erupted around him, and Alexander felt the heat of a dozen judgmental eyes on him. Ignoring the taunt, he turned back to the jet, but the man wasn't done. "Why don't you save yourself some embarrassment and leave? People like you don't belong here." The salesperson smirked, clearly enjoying the show. "Sir, if you're not serious about purchasing, I'm afraid I'll have to ask you to leave. We have other customers to attend to." Alexander took a deep breath, his hands tightening into fists at his sides. He had come here to fulfill a dream, not to be humiliated. "I am serious about purchasing," he said firmly. The man in the suit laughed. "Oh, really? And how do you plan to pay for it? Loose change from your piggy bank?" Alexander's eyes narrowed. "I plan to pay for it the same way I've paid for everything in my life, with hard work and perseverance." Reaching into his bag, he pulled out a checkbook and calmly wrote a check for the full price of the jet. "Here," he said, handing it to the stunned salesperson. "This should cover it." The room fell silent, the mocking smiles replaced by expressions of shock and disbelief. "Wait, what?" the man in the suit stammered. "You judged me without knowing who I am or what I'm capable of," Alexander said, his voice steady but firm. "This is a lesson for all of you. Success doesn't always wear a suit and tie." Before the silence could settle completely, the door to the showroom swung open, and a sharply dressed man entered. It was Alexander's personal lawyer, summoned by a quick call during the confrontation. "Is everything all right, Mr. Wright?" the lawyer asked, glancing at the shocked salesperson and the embarrassed customers. "It is now," Alexander replied, "but I want a record of how I was treated here today. No one should have to endure this kind of humiliation." The lawyer nodded. "Understood. I'll take care of it." The staff scrambled to apologize, but Alexander wasn't interested in their excuses. Instead, he turned to the salesperson and said, "Cancel the sale. I'll take my business elsewhere." Later, at a competing showroom, Alexander was greeted with respect and professionalism. The staff there treated him as a valued customer, regardless of his attire. He purchased a state-of-the-art jet, a sleek, powerful machine that perfectly matched his vision. As he boarded the jet for its maiden flight, Alexander reflected on the day's events. The experience had reminded him of the importance of humility and the dangers of judging others based on appearances. When he landed back home, his family greeted him with pride and joy. His children ran to him, their faces lighting up at the sight of the jet. "Is this ours?" his youngest son asked, his eyes wide with wonder. "It is," Alexander said, lifting the boy into his arms. His wife smiled, her eyes shining with pride. "You've worked so hard for this, Alex. You deserve it." Alexander looked at his family, his heart full. This jet is more than just a machine. It's a symbol of what we've overcome together. Let it remind us to always stay grounded, no matter how high we fly. Conclusion. Alexander's story is a testament to the power of perseverance, humility, and staying true to oneself. It's a reminder that success isn't about appearances, but about character, determination, and the courage to chase your dreams. If you found this story inspiring, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.